Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Webcamps TV. My name is James Senior and I'm the technical evangelist for the Microsoft Web Platform. And today I'm delighted to be joined by...
Delighted?
Delighted. I'm delighted to be joined by Sir Stephen Walther of ASP.NET Land. How'd you like that introduction?
That was a great introduction.
I think it was pretty good. Just
Yep.
For everybody at home who doesn't know you, and that's not very many people by the way, for all those people who don't, then who are you and what you do?
That's a great question, James. So my name is Stephen Walther. I'm a PM on the ASP.NET team, and I spend a lot of time these days looking at Ajax, working with Ajax and thinking about jQuery and working with the jQuery team.
Nice, okay. So we're actually here today for a very special reason. We're here to announce a few things. So what are those three things? And we'll then give some demos and talk about them in more detail.
Absolutely, yeah. So the big, exciting announcement, which I'm super overjoyed about this, because this is something that we've been working up to for, for about 6 months now.
Since March, when we announced at Mix that we're going to be contributing sometime in the future to jQuery.
And
today is the day.
The future is now.
We are in the future.
We are in the future. And so I'm very happy to announce today that we have some of those contributions have come to fruition. And we are now contributing templating, data linking, and globalization into the jQuery project.
Wow, so that's Microsoft contributing to the open source, and that's an open source, and I emphasize project, the jQuery project?
The jQuery project,
Fantastic.
The open source jQuery project, completely independent from Microsoft. But we've had developers working full time on building plugins that we will now contribute into the jQuery project. And the exciting news for us is that the jQuery project has accepted these as official contributions.
Ooh, okay. Well, that sounds very, very exciting. And that's a good point. Like, we've had real developers spending real time working on this stuff to make sure that this open source project, the jQuery project, moves forward and has lots of cool new features. Yeah,
I mean, so this came out of our Microsoft ASP.NET developers just love jQuery. I mean, they were using it heavily in both ASP.NET MVC and ASP.NET Web Forms. About a year ago, we decided to change direction and focus on jQuery as the main, Ajax technology to use with ASP.NET. And when we had that change in direction, we wanted to contribute some of our background and knowledge around Ajax into the jQuery project. So we're really happy that all of this has worked out so that we can, actually make the contributions into the project.
Yeah, and this is a cool thing because all of that kind of investment and all of the knowledge that we bring to the table is going to be leveraged not just by ASP.NET developers, but also by other web developers out there, whether they're writing apps in PHP, Ruby on Rails, struts, whatever it might be. Yeah,
so all this stuff we're doing, because it's going into the jQuery project, has to be platform neutral, which is great. We feel like we're improving the world for everyone.
There you go, making it a better place.
There you go.
So tell us about some of these contributions then.
Yeah, sure. So templating. So our first big contribution is client-side templating. And what client-side templating enables you to do is, if you're used to using things like the repeater control or the list view control on the server side, you use a server-side template to be able to format each of a set of database records. The idea behind templating in jQuery is the same thing. What you can do is you can take a bunch of records that you've retrieved maybe from a database, and you can use templating to format the appearance of each of those database records.
That sounds good. Let's come back to a demo of templating in just a little bit. Yeah. The next one we're contributing as well is data linking.
Data linking.
What's data linking in a nutshell?
Sure. So what data linking is, you might be more familiar with the term data binding. And the idea with data linking is it gives you an easy way to synchronize your UI and your data, so that when you make changes to your user interface, you change a form field, it will automatically be reflected in a JavaScript object. Or when you make a change in a JavaScript object, that change can be reflected back to the UI. So it makes life easier for a developer because you don't have to write all that meaningless, tedious, glue code between the UI and your data.
Right. That sounds good to me. And then the final contribution that we're announcing today is globalization.
That's right. Yeah. jQuery Glob. That's the official name of the nice. of the plugin. Yeah, so we have Microsoft has of course a huge background in localization and globalization. We've built up a giant database of information about different cultures.
Right.
We're taking this information and we're contributing it to the open source jQuery community. So the globalization plugin allows you to do things like format dates and times or parse dates and times. Anytime you need to, localize a website for, say, a German website, and you want all the currency to show up correctly for German, then using this plugin will make your life a lot easier.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's the 3 announcements, the 3 plugins that we're contributing. Great news. Let's drill into a little bit more detail on the templating.
Absolutely. One thing I want to point out about templating, because this is something that we're particularly excited about, is so all 3 of the plugins are official plugins being released with jQuery 1.4.3. But the really exciting thing about templating for us is the jQuery team has decided to take the templating code and actually put it into the jQuery.js file as part of jQuery 1.5.
Oh, wow. So we'll actually get it as a download when I go to jQuery.com or I get it from the CDN. It'll be included in 1.5.
Yeah, it'll be included in jQuery.js. So, nice. as of today, as of jQuery 1.4.3, you can download it as a separate plugin, but in the next version of jQuery, it will be right in the box. It'll be in jQuery.js.
Awesome, very nice.
So let me demonstrate a little bit. I have a really simple HTML page that shows off some templating, and I'm just going to run it first so you can see what it outputs. So you could imagine you're building a store, an online store. You want to show your list of products. You want the products to look nice, so you want to do a little bit of formatting with it. What I'm doing here is I'm using the templating plugin to take each product that I'm grabbing, I could be grabbing from a database, and I'm formatting each of the products so it looks nice on the page.
Makes sense. You get that consistency if you use a template, don't you?
Absolutely.
Every product looks the same.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, if you're not using templates, you end up doing lots of string concatenations, which is just, horrible, messy, ugly code that no one in the world wants to maintain.
Absolutely.
So the way templating works is what you do is you add in a script tag. You might notice there's something a little odd about the script tag.
Well, we've got HTML right inside that script tag. That's
isn't that
odd?
Funky,
isn't it?
That is very strange. That's not JavaScript. That's HTML. So if you look closely, you'll see that the type is set to text HTML, and what that is doing is it's actually telling the browser not to interpret the content of the script tag as a normal script. And this gives you a way to inject just arbitrary HTML into a page, and that's what we're using as our template. And you'll notice there's some other funny little, tags inside of here. There's you have the braces that are indicating the placeholders for the different fields that you want to show from the data that you're displaying with the template.
Okay, so each one of those is a placeholder that relates to our data set, which we're going to go and attach to.
Exactly, yeah. Yep.
Got it.
And if you look down below, so I'm cheating here a little bit, sorry. Instead of going against the database and doing an AJAX call, I just went ahead and made a static, array, JavaScript array, so I have a list of products to work with.
Right.
And then this is where the magic happens. This is the actual invoking of it's called temple, the method for rendering out the collection of products from the array into that template.
Yep.
And then attaching the result into this product container. The product container is just a div tag at the top of the page. So it iterates through, it builds up, the result, and then it attaches it.
So temple is the thing that does the magic and gives us a jQuery object, is it?
It actually it returns the fragment of HTML that you'll be appending onto the product container.
Cool. And you also mentioned an important point previously. That data there could well be a service out there on the internet. Could be a JSON-P endpoint.
Oh yeah, so potentially go against Flickr or something like that. Grab a bunch of images. Use this templating plugin to be able to display that list of images in a nice way. Or you could just do an AJAX call back to your own server and be able to grab out your list of products from your server.
Cool. Excellent. Nice. So maybe give me some scenarios of where you think templating is useful. I think in my experience, I've had this question come up a lot. Is where do I actually want to make use of templating?
Sure. Sure. Well, so I'm showing you the simplest application, the templating stuff. The templating plugin is pretty advanced. It supports things like composite templates. It supports different sorts of template commands that you can use. So it's a very, very flexible templating engine. But whenever you need to take a set of data and display it in a pleasant way, I would recommend using the templating plugin to do it.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is, it surprises me that right now it's so difficult if you're just using jQuery all by itself to be able to display stuff in a structured manner, and templating gives you a way to do that.
And one of the use cases I like is, imagine you are pulling from a data source which is updating frequently.
Yeah.
Think about Twitter as the kind of canonical example, and you've got a Twitter stream which is constantly updating.
Yeah.
You don't want to refresh the page and get that,
That'd be crazy.
That you don't want to have that experience.
Sure.
You want to have some kind of Ajax call that's coming back, but then again, inserting and concatenating all those strings, you want a templating engine to be able to do that. So that's where this plugin comes in. So
whenever you have, Ajax just makes sense whenever you have a super interactive page and you want it to be interactive and responsive, then using Ajax in general is good. Whenever you want to control the display, using this jQuery templating stuff is great.
Perfect. All right, well, let's move on. This is a really cool demo. Let's look at data linking.
Absolutely. Yeah, so data linking is being released as an official jQuery plugin. So along with jQuery 1.4.3, it actually depends on some features in 1.4.3. So make sure that you use it with the latest version of jQuery.
That's a good tip.
So what data linking, as I mentioned before, fundamentally what it enables you to do is keep your UI and your data synced up. So you can automatically, whenever you make a change to a form, the change is reflected back in the data and the other way around. So let me show you a quick demonstration of that. So in this page, I have a really simple product form, and it just has a product name and a product price and a button to save, the form, save the form. And if you look down at my JavaScript code, you'll notice that I have this one line of code right here where I'm linking that form that I just showed you up to this product. And I create the product on the line above. It's just a empty JavaScript object at this point. It doesn't really have anything in it. And so I've linked these two things together. And because by default, the data linking plugin supports two-way data binding, whenever I make a change to the form, it's going to be reflected in the product and the other way around. As soon as I have to use a special syntax, I call .data, I can go ahead and specify the name of the property I want to that I want to change, and I'm specifying a new value. And as soon as I do that, it's going to go ahead. Notice I'm making this change here on the JavaScript object. It's going to be reflected back on the form automatically.
Okay, cool.
And it's true for the other way around. If I make a change in the form, as you'll see in a moment, it will show up on the data object as well.
Okay, got it. So we'll get an alert there to let us know that it's happened.
Yeah, so let me open this up. So right now, it just says ice cream for the product name in the form field. But if I change it here to, I don't know, what's your favorite type of ice cream?
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip, okay.
You put me on the spot there, Stephen. Jeez,
Sorry.
These difficult questions.
Oh, I gotta spell it.
Yeah, that's the harder thing.
All right. Well, pretend that that's spelled correctly, just for the sake of. And you notice that it actually says chocolate chip ice cream, but notice I didn't actually have to update the form field at all. It just knew it as soon as I made the change to the data.
Makes sense.
Now, going the other way around, you notice I have some code down here to handle the click event on the button.
Right.
And I'm showing the current value of, in this case, the data object.
Yep.
And if I go ahead and open this up again.
So you're not talking about displaying the form itself. You're talking about the data, right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm alerting out the data and not the form, because I really don't care how I'm changing the data. I just want to work directly with the data.
Got it.
So product price, $23.44. I'm going to click save.
That is some premium ice cream, Steve.
It is. It's very special ice cream. And you notice it actually shows up $23.44. So that shows you it's actually taken what I put into the form and it's reflected back to the data object.
Nice. That has got a lot of uses. I'm going to go away and use that a lot, I can tell. It's going to save me a lot of time.
Yep.
So that's data linking.
Yep.
Let's talk about globalization.
Absolutely.
Or glob, as we now like to call it.
I love the name of the plugin. So the jQuery globalization plugin allows you. So it has information on over 350 cultures. So things like currencies, date times, all that information, calendars.
Nice.
All that information is built into it. Has a big database of information in it.
I imagine that's quite a big file.
That is. So right now I'm doing something that I recommend no one on earth ever do, unless you're doing a demo like I'm doing right here. There's a file that comes with jQuery Glob that just has all the culture information concatenated together.
Right.
We actually recommend you never add that file because it wasn't, don't inflict that on your users.
How big is it? Is it like half a meg or something?
It's, yeah, I don't know, 50 gigabytes or something. So
excessively big.
Yeah. So what we suggest instead is, if you're working with a small number of cultures, then we have separate files for each of the cultures. Mm-hmm. Or if you need to be able to work with all 350 cultures, we have samples for how you can just dynamically load the cultures when you need it.
That's much more sensible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to show here some examples of cultures. So these are the 350 cultures. So you get all the different currency symbols. You get, notice that the number separator is different depending on the culture. You get all sorts of, fun stuff.
That's nice.
So one of the other things that we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that the stuff we were doing with globalization would work great if you were building your own plugins on top of it. So if you wanted to, globalize or localize a plugin, you had an easy way of doing that. One example of that is jQuery UI has a widget in it called the Date Picker widget, which shows a pop-up calendar. And it is localized right now to a small number of languages.
Yep.
But what we have a sample that shows how easy it is to modify the jQuery UI Date Picker so it will actually use the full extent of the information in the jQuery Glob plugin.
That sounds pretty cool. So you can actually build on top of it, use it in your own plugins. I like it. So you're actually going to show that right now?
I will show it. I'm opening it up. So this has the standard jQuery Date Picker plugin. I'm using it right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I'm using the globalization plugin. And what I'm doing is I'm showing all the possible cultures again within this drop-down list. And I can go ahead and pick one of these guys. I go for Icelandic. And you'll notice that I get the standard jQuery, jQuery UI Date Picker, but instead of the English date names, we have Icelandic, month names. And we get, all the fun little characters.
All our Icelandic viewers on Webcamps TV, we're thrilled that you're mentioning their country.
Yeah,
it's a good plug for tourism.
Go Iceland.
Yeah, that's pretty useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So that's the jQuery Glob.
jQuery Glob
plugin as well. Yeah. Now, where do I go to learn all about this good stuff? Are there any good documentation available?
Yeah, I mean, so we recommend, first of all, always go to Scott Goo's blog, scottgoo.com.
He always needs more hits.
I know. He doesn't get any traffic. Go to scottgoo.com. The other place is, so we've merged our documentation into the jQuery project. So if you go to the official jQuery documentation at api.jquery.com, you'll find all the documentation for templating, data linking and globalization. It's all in there.
It's all in there.
And so I would start there. The other place that you might want to take a look is we have there's a repository in the jQuery project, so it's at GitHub, github.com/jQuery, and that's where the jQuery team keeps all their source code. Right. So you might want to look there as well.
And we've actually got another few samples if you want to play around with some of the stuff we've looked at today.
Yeah.
There's a templating tab system that one of our developers built, Boris Moore.
Yeah.
He created that and it's out there on github.com/jQuery, and if you go to the templating area, you'll find it there. And then Dave Reed also created a really cool sample around the globalization stuff as well. So there's like lots of little samples, demo apps that you can get from GitHub that explain all of the features and intricacies of the API. Excellent. Well, Stephen, this is fantastic news. Microsoft contributing to jQuery is a super thing to see, and thank you for working so hard on this over the last 6 months. It's been great.
Yep.
And thanks for coming on to the show. The last thing to remind everybody, if you want to get hold of the Microsoft Web Platform and get free downloads, free tools, then sign up for Website Spark. We'll put a link up over there. Go to http://bit.ly/makeweb, And then also, if you want to sign up for free training in an area that's near you, then sign up to webcamps.ms. And we've got training we're about to launch all over the place, so watch this space for dates near you. So Stephen, thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.